Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Oh yeah, one show till the weekend, baby. Let's push through this Friday afternoon together. Here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans, Parker Thune, alongside former number 1 overall draft pick, Grayson Singleton. Number 1 overall draft pick in the K-Ref bowling party draft, that is. That was the case in 2025. Your draft stock slipped a little bit this year, although not quite as much as I was expecting.
Yeah.
I was prepared to snap you up at the tail end of the second round, early third, whatever it would have been.
It's a little
But you
value
came
pick.
off the board second overall in yesterday's draft.
Hey, yo, what?
Second overall, courtesy of Josh Helmer.
Okay, then.
So I believe you were the only 2-time first-round draft pick in the history of the KREF bowling tournament. So
Say less.
high expectations placed upon you tonight.
There's no conceivable way I will be nearly as bad as I was a year ago.
Oh, I trust that entirely. Also, here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
You got the girlfriend showing up tonight,
Yeah, I'm aware.
which, as I found out last year and counted on in drafting Drake to my team,
Mm-hmm.
I counted on the girlfriend factor being worth a good 20, 30 pin bump.
So,
And indeed it was.
So Josh told me that my girlfriend is on our team, and I texted her that yesterday.
Oh, team
to,
chemistry.
To which her first reply was, "You better not embarrass yourself again like last year."
Oh, man, so she knows.
She is aware. Yes.
Is she a good bowler?
I don't know. I don't know the last time she even bowled. Her and I have never been bowling together, and we've been kicking it for a year, so I know it's been over a year.
You really been kicking it for a year and y'all haven't gone bowling yet?
No, we've done mini golf. We've done a whole lot of other stuff. We have not gone bowling.
Dang. Okay, so uncharted territory tonight. A lot of volatility with some of these draft selections. I secured the same duo that together with Drake made up the core of my team a year ago. That would be Travis Davidson and his fiancée Jamie.
Yeah.
So
Did y'all win it last year?
we did win it.
Okay.
Yep. Travis and Jamie were both 100-plus bowlers. Drake was 100-plus. I'm pretty sure Luann, prior to her retirement, got to 100-plus as well. So we were just very consistent across the board last year.
Woo.
And that's what got it done.
All right, then.
Sooner Bump says Netflix and chilling for a year. They were Netflix and chilling for a while there, as I understand it. But when did you guys officially start dating? Was
June.
it like, May or June?
June, yeah.
Yeah.
Beginning of June, yeah.
The realist says the question is, will Grayson redeem himself in bowling, or will last year repeat itself? Well, folks,
Tap in on Monday to
you'll
find
all
out.
find out on Monday. But let's get rolling. Let's talk some sports here on Locked In. 405-651-3439 is the text line if you want to chime in throughout the show, which is brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. Folks, Dorsey Jones is a family-owned and operated establishment. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, go check out what they got going at Dorsey Jones. GMC, of course, offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and Dorsey Jones is staffed with people who care, who are happy to assist you before and after the buying process and provide fantastic service as well, including half-price oil changes on Saturdays. War Sooner asks, does Grayson's girlfriend know he's not white?
There are multiple ways I could answer this question, actually. I'm going to go with yes. She definitely knows I'm not white.
I would assume after a year plus, she'd have caught on to that. And if you didn't know that, well, you've never tuned in on YouTube, which you should do at some point.
Well played.
If
Well
for no
played.
other reason than to just see our faces. The KREF Sports YouTube channel is where we are live streaming every single day.
Who
In
was
addition-
Steve in Colorado Springs at the end of you and Steely's hour said, if I wanted to see boobs, I'd watch the Locked In YouTube channel.
I have no idea what that text was in reference
to. What did you mean by that? I'm very curious.
Steely was referencing the Janet Jackson Justin Timberlake halftime show.
I was listening.
I think what he said was something along the lines of, "Yeah, I'm not going to just not watch the Super Bowl halftime show. I might see a nipple." I gave him a good ribbing for that.
Yeah, sure. Has everybody forgotten that Green Day is also going to be appearing at the
Dude,
halftime
I
show?
haven't forgotten. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I am too, because I was a fan of Green Day.
I loved me some Green Day back in high school, especially.
Yes.
Their music holds up, man.
Yeah. I will say, if we want to get back into it much later in the show, I have a revolutionary but not divisive take on the Super Bowl halftime show.
Really?
Not divisive, not inflammatory.
Hey, Green Day is a great example of this. Like, I am one of those people, and again, I think 80% of the population feels like this. There are 20% that dictate their feelings of people based on where they stand politically.
Yeah.
I know where Green Day stands politically. I am not necessarily aligned with them politically, but guess what? I don't care because I like their music.
Sure.
And I will listen to it.
Yeah, and see, I like people like you, Parker. People who, like, base their entertainment off of, like, having a list of who is on the other side of political beliefs. It's kind of a miserable way to go about things,
It
in my
is, man.
opinion.
Is it good or is it not? That's what it comes down to
Exactly.
for me. Green Day's music is good.
It is.
Jim in Arlington asked Parker, what is the reward for winning the bowling tournament? We got some cash prizes at stake. I double-dipped last year. I went 2 for 2 because
you did.
I won the individual crown, and my team won the tournament. So I can't remember how much money I made last year, but it was a good solid chunk of change. It was a good evening last year. Set the bar high for this season, no doubt. Let's dive into the Friday film room, which we haven't done for a few weeks just because of how much news has abounded. But as the news cycle has slowed a bit now that we are into the month of February, I want to talk about a major priority target for Oklahoma on the offensive line. And immediately, some of you that listen to this show on a regular basis are thinking Gus Corsair, 4-star interior offensive lineman from Hays, Kansas, that Oklahoma hosted last weekend for a visit. They've been pushing to add him as their center for the 2027 class, but that's actually not who I'm referencing. There is another native Kansan whom we have talked about a bit, not nearly as much as Corsair, but that is verifiably a high-level, high-priority target for Oklahoma in the 2027 class as well. Another kid that Oklahoma expects on campus for Future Freaks on March 7th, and that is a take all day. He can pick up the phone at any point, tell OU, I'm coming, and there will be no discussion had. They'll tell him, you're in. Let's go. And that would be Tyson Ross out of Andover, Kansas. Suburban Wichita, 2.5 hours to the north or so. Oklahoma likes him at guard. He plays right tackle primarily in high school, but Oklahoma projects him as a guard, as many of the schools that are recruiting him do. And Grayson, this is a kid that is very much in the conversation, right up there with Corsair as the best player in the state of Kansas for the 2027 cycle. I have a couple of good friends by the names of Kevin Flaherty and Ryan Wallace, who cover the high school recruiting scene up in the Sunflower State better than literally anyone. I mean, they are the guys for the state of Kansas on the recruiting scene. And both of them actually do believe that by a slight margin, Ross is the best player in the state of Kansas for 2027 over Corsair. So locally, the opinion of this kid is very high. When you look at the tape on Tyson Ross, what stands out to you?
Well, I definitely see guard. I 100% see guard, and that was one of the things I was going to ask you about once we came in here, because he's got shorter arms, and he just, the way his body moves and the way I think he's going to be more comfortable is at guard. So because what I see is, when I watch him at tackle, I see good but not great foot speed for a tackle, but can move very well on the interior, pulling from one A gap to the other A gap. So I do perfectly see guard. I also see a mauler. Like I just see straight up brute strength, and especially with how good he is as a down blocker and turning his body and leverage, and you see guys just running right off his rear end. It makes more sense that he would be a guard. So that combined with I think he moves better on the interior and the fact that you just line him up on somebody and tell him blast off the football and he's going to move you 3 or 4 yards pretty easily. I like him at guard. I would have had more questions at tackle, but at guard I think this is a really cool prospect.
I agree, man. You know who he reminds me of on tape in a lot of ways is Noah Best, Oklahoma's recent signee from Midlothian, Texas, 4-star interior offensive line projection in the 2026 cycle. And I think the reason I see so many parallels there is because the first thing that jumps out at me about Tyson Ross, and it was the very first thing that jumps out when you watch Noah Best as well, is, man, he plays angry. He is vicious. And to me, if you're going to play guard at the next level, that is the absolute baseline trait that you have to have. Like for me, it's as simple as when I flip on the tape, do you play angry or do you not? If you don't, not that my opinion matters as much as Jim Nagy's or anyone else that actually works in that building, but I don't want a guy at guard if he doesn't play angry. And he isn't the type that's driving his man into the ground on every single snap. And you can check that box with Tyson Ross. He's somewhere in the neighborhood of 6'3", 6'4", south of 300 pounds for right now, which I think is fine. I would rather have a guy that's underweight than overweight. And ultimately, he probably settles in the range of 315, 320. I would say that's historically where Oklahoma's guards have played under Bill Bedenbaugh. I think Fabechi Wiwu's playing weight this last year was 323. Ryan Fojays was 322. EPL was a little bit slimmer. I want to say he was maybe 313. But 315 to 320 is the weight range that you can envision Tyson Ross sitting in once he gets to the college level and develops a little bit physically in the strength and conditioning program. But this is a kid that has acknowledged Oklahoma is his leader. Now, does that mean the Sooners get him? Not necessarily. They're going to have to fight off the usual in-state suspects in Kansas and Kansas State. Oregon is another school that has expressed interest. I believe he pretty recently picked up an offer from Nebraska, which, you know, any offensive lineman in the state of Kansas that's worth anything, Nebraska is going to be one of those schools typically that gets involved. So for Tyson Ross, again, he is expected to visit Oklahoma on March 7th for Future Freaks. Much like Corsair, Oklahoma would like to get this done quickly. They would like to just go ahead and be able to move into official visit season with their offensive line group done. I will say this, though. I've gotten the indication that if Gus Corsair winds up a Sooner and Tyson Ross ends up a Sooner, and I do believe Oklahoma leads right now for both of them, Oklahoma might not be done on the offensive line. As I understand it, they would be perfectly content with that offensive line class, that group of 5, which would be Cooper Hackett, Caden Penny, Luke Wilson, and then Ross and Corsair. But they would be open to taking a 6th. And without saying anything that I'm not supposed to say at this point in time, what I will add in that regard is that Oklahoma still has a lot of love for an offensive lineman that is committed elsewhere right now in the 2027 cycle. So still a lot of time left in the cycle for something to materialize there with the prospect in question. But no doubt that will be something that we explore later on down the line if there is legit traction in that direction come April or May. Blake from Owasso asks, what happened to Jackson Roper? Now, Jackson Roper out of the state of Colorado is a guy that Oklahoma did lead for going back to last fall. They were tops in his recruitment for a couple of months. It's as simple as this. Oklahoma's opinion of Roper relative to other targets on the board for the interior offensive line evolved. Roper did sustain a significant ankle injury towards the end of his junior season. And with Corsair and Ross playing their way more firmly onto OU's radar, concurrent with that development, I don't expect at this point that Roper is going to wind up in OU's class. I think he winds up elsewhere. Actually talked to the kid maybe a month or so ago, and he kind of saw the writing on the wall at that point. He was very much resigned to the reality that it doesn't seem like it's going to be going anywhere with Oklahoma. Don't believe they visited him during the contact period. So the focus right now is Corsair, Tyson Ross. You get those two, maybe a push for a flip, and add a 6th offensive lineman down the stretch, which we talked about Oklahoma's need to load up at defensive tackle in the 27 cycle, but this would be a nice class to load up on the offensive line as well, because there are some questions there with regard to depth heading into the coming season.
Especially because you only took 2 in the 2026 class.
Yep.
Now, I started to rewind because taking 5 and maybe even 6 seems like a lot for one class. So back in 2024, they took 3 offensive linemen, I believe, and then they took 3 in the 25 class, if I'm reading that correctly. So is this the fact that they're thinking about taking at least 5, but maybe even 6, is this something to sort of recoup some lost numbers and maybe kind of get back to the mean of what they usually take, given that they only took 2 in the 2026 class?
Yeah, no question. I think it's also the type of deal where you have guys even within the classes it stands right now that are going to be ready on different timelines. I think Caden Penny is a guy that could push for playing time as a true freshman. It depends on the outlook depth chart-wise at that point and who else is still around amongst the elder statesmen. But Caden Penny is a guy that could be ready year 1 or year 2. Luke Wilson right now, I don't know if I necessarily sense the same level of early impact potential. I don't think he's a project, but I think he – and I kind of feel the same way about Ross too. Like those guys probably redshirt. And in an ideal scenario, I think you're able to redshirt Corsair as well as your center. Now, the plan for Cooper Hackett would be, if everything lined up perfectly, that Michael Fasusi is your starting left tackle in 2027. Hackett either redshirts, plays his 4 games or 9 games at that point.
Good Lord.
And
I forgot about that one.
And he can just enjoy a year of apprenticeship under Fasusi and then seize that role in 2028. That would be the way that you want it to line up, is Hackett sits a year behind Fasusi. If he's ready to go in 2028, he's your guy at left tackle. So within the class, whether it's 5 or 6, whatever the final number ends up being, you can take guys and you can accommodate guys that are going to be on different developmental timelines, and that will stagger things a little bit such that you're not losing half the class after 2 years because somebody else that's their same age is playing over them, and they're pissed about it.
Blake from Owasso asked, Jalen Brewster today made it known he's not locked in with Tech since their D-line coach left. Any more communication with him?
That is an excellent question, Blake. And you know what? We're talking about a 5-star with Jalen Brewster, so I don't want to hit that just as we go into a break and kind of do a flyover on it. So let's take that break right now, and when we return, that is the first thing we will discuss, is the Jalen Brewster situation and that recruitment and OU's level of involvement. So hit the text line if you have questions, 405-651-3439. We'll be right back with much more on Locked In. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
The big dance and big-time prizes are almost here from the home of Sooner fans. Mark your calendars on Monday, March 16th for the Refs' 25th annual 68-team giveaway at the newly renovated Buffalo Wild Wings in Moore off 19th Street from noon to 7 for your chance to win with the big dance or one of our many instant prizes. That's the Refs' 25th annual 68-team giveaway, presented by Riverwind Casino, the Central Oklahoma GMC dealers, and Buffalo Wild Wings on Monday, March 16th.
When you quit tobacco with nicotine patches, gum, or lozenges, you double your odds of success. So, this month, we're giving you more for free. Get an 8-week supply when you sign up with the Oklahoma Tobacco Helpline. Call 1-800-QUIT now Text READY to 34191 or visit okhelpline.com to double your odds of quitting tobacco with 8 weeks of free patches, gum, or lozenges all month long. A program of TSET.
Hey, it's Chris Plank here from my friend Mandy and everyone at Sooner Bowling Center in Norman. Are you looking for the perfect place to plan your group event? Sooner Bowling Center in Norman has you covered. Whether it's a school outing, fundraiser, or sports banquet, Sooner Bowl is the place. With fantastic catering options from Social Butterfly to private meeting rooms, you could bowl, meet, and eat. Spots are filling up fast. Make your next event a striking success. Visit SoonerBowl.com.
Hi, Sooner fans. This is Lizzie Blessy.
And Blakely Roten with the reigning 7-time national championship OU women's gymnastics team.
We've had a fantastic start to our season so far.
Our goal is pack the LNC for each home meet this season, and we can't do it without you.
It really does enhance the environment when the crowd is loud and proud.
Season tickets are on sale now. And another great way to get connected is to join the Team 10 Booster Club, which directly supports our team.
It gives insider access to the team throughout the year. And as always, Boomer.
Sooner!
Gear up for the Trails Golf Club Winter Blowout Sale with 20% off all apparel. Short and long sleeve shirts, pants, shorts, rain gear, mid-layers, and outerwear. Need a new golf bag? Get $50 off any Titleist, Ping, Callaway, Sun Mountain, or OGO bag. You also get 20% off all accessories. Hurry into the Trails Golf Club in Norman, 3200 South Berry Road for incredible savings. Sale ends February 28th.
Imagine a backyard designed just for you. With Signature Custom Pools, luxury meets craftsmanship to create your outdoor retreat. Every detail is tailored to elevate your lifestyle. Whether you're celebrating special occasions, making lifelong memories, or escaping to a quiet oasis, their experienced design team brings your vision to life. Plan now so you can be swimming and making memories soon. Call 405-898-9098 for your free consultation or visit signaturecustompools.com. Signature Custom Pools. Experience the signature touch.
Teachers are dynamic leaders shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
Who's your favorite Muppet, Grayson?
Oh, this comes at a great time. Beaker.
You like Beaker?
Dude, Beaker always cracks me the hell up, man.
Oh, man, so many great characters. I read a tweet. I was scrolling through my feed on twitter.com, and an individual by the name of Jonathan Cohn tweeted today, I used "Who is your favorite Muppet" as an icebreaker in 2 meetings today, and everyone always nods approvingly at every answer. 10 out of 10 question. I like Rolf the piano dog.
Sound good.
That dude's just vibing in the midst of all of the chaos. I relate to him.
Man, Beaker, and I'm not going to lie, Animal just always sends me on a trip. They had a Muppet special on Disney Plus released the other day.
See, here's the problem. We do way too many live action versions of old animated movies these days, and what we really should be focusing on is Muppet readaptations
100%
of great movies.
100%.
There are not enough of those.
Like, stop making Lion Kings or Aladdin or all that into live action. Give me more of the Muppets. Now, I will say I did not expect Sabrina Carpenter to be in this new Muppet thing on Disney Plus. I'm also not going to complain about that, but
you a big Sabrina Carpenter guy?
Not a huge Sabrina Carpenter guy, but I ain't going to lie. Kind of nice.
He said, kind of nice. Dude, Muppet Treasure Island with Tim Curry.
Yes.
Absolute banger.
Talk to me.
Billy Connolly talks to this day about how he believes he's the only person ever to die in a Muppet movie, which I think tracks.
Yes, it does.
Okay, back to Jalen Brewster. Sorry, I halfway lied to you, Blake. We took a short detour to the land of the Muppets. But on Jalen Brewster, the original question from Blake was, Jalen Brewster today made it known he's not locked in with Tech since their defensive line coach left. Any more communication with him? We are talking here about the number one defensive lineman in the entire 2027 class. And the answer I will give you, Blake, is that no, there has not been any further contact between Oklahoma and Jalen Brewster. They didn't visit with him in the contact period. OU is, for all intents and purposes, at this juncture, not involved in his recruitment. And you may ask why. For a guy who's been to Oklahoma several times, is right down the road in Cedar Hill, Texas. Well, a couple things here. First off, do we really think the loss of Zarnell Fitch as Texas Tech's defensive line coach is really going to have a measurable impact on the outcome of Jalen Brewster's recruitment? Joey McGuire is the former head coach at Cedar Hill High School, and I think we all know, and if we don't know, we can connect the dots on why Jalen Brewster committed to Texas Tech as early as he committed to Texas Tech. I'll give you a hint here. It's the same reason Cooper Hackett committed to Texas Tech for about 3 weeks there. So I don't buy that the departure of Zarnell Fitch really impacts the outcome of Jalen Brewster's recruitment, nor do I buy necessarily that he's signing with Texas Tech 1,000%. I've never believed that. We talked about this at the time that he committed to Tech. Okay, we'll see if that holds or not. There are going to be other schools that make a push. I don't think Oklahoma is going to be one of those schools, not because Jalen Brewster isn't a really good player, not because the staff didn't do great work to get Oklahoma well-positioned in that recruitment initially before his commitment, but mostly because at this point, Grayson, the Sooners have Elijah Harmon committed, 4-star defensive tackle out of Inglewood, California. They have Devin Robertson committed, high 3-star defensive tackle out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, U.S. Navy All-American. They lead for Zane Rowe, who at this point projects a defensive tackle, and they are in the fight for another blue-chip defensive tackle in George Toya out of the DFW area. And so, it maybe makes more sense to go back to the table with Jalen Brewster if you don't already have 2 very highly regarded defensive tackles on board and are trending nicely for a third. But at what point do you make the acknowledgement that the resources you would have to expend in order to acquire Jalen Brewster would be better spent elsewhere?
Yeah, and that's the position you're in. Now, I will say my opinion on this would change if they weren't in such good position for Zane Rowe. And the reason being is because of what David Stone's impact on this defense is. Because David Stone, to me, like, that is a bona fide top 20 pick in the NFL draft. And you see just how much he can really wreck shop. To me, he was the best. I know Grayson Halton is going to be a top 100 guy this year. I know Dominic Williams and Jaden Jackson are excellent. But David Stone was the best defensive tackle in that room this year for my money, and just looks different than everybody else. He just looks different, and that's what I get with Jalen Brewster. But I think you also check the box like that with Zane Rowe as well, in that he's just a difference maker above everybody else. So if they weren't in such good position with Zane Rowe, I would probably be on the side of, no, let's go see how much money we can reasonably expend to be in the bidding war for Jalen Brewster, given what David Stone's impact with this defense is. But because it looks as if Zane Rowe is probably going to end up a Sooner, I'm okay saying, we don't need to participate in this bag war.
Is Jalen Brewster the best defensive lineman in the entire 2027 cycle? The rankings would say yes. I would also say yes.
I would,
Having
too.
watched him, I would concur that is probably the best defensive lineman in the nation. He is one that you would categorize as elite. But especially because everything comes at a cost these days. If you can reel in 3 guys that are borderline elite, at minimum really, really, really good in Harmon and Robertson and Rowe, give me that over Jalen Brewster. He's going to be a difference maker at the next level. No question in my mind about that. But you got 3 guys that maybe they don't all turn out to be difference makers, but boy, do they have that potential. Serious potential. Now, I want to pivot very briefly here to the 2028 class. Because Micah Rhodes last week became the Sooners' first pledge of the 2028 cycle. And, Grayson, I don't know that it's going to be too terribly long before the Sooners add more commits to that group. Rhodes has been very vocal about the fact that he intends to actively recruit his peers. One guy he mentioned by name is Armani Edwards, the nation's #1 offensive tackle in the 2028 class, who's down there in the Houston area, as Rhodes is. But a couple guys I'm keeping an eye on. A couple guys I'll continue to keep an eye on over the next few months, especially once visits start happening again in the month of March. I don't think one of these names is going to surprise anybody. Camion Compton-Nero from Rejoice Christian in Owasso. Former high school teammate of OU signee Zizi Okafaleze, top 100 prospect in the nation, has held an offer from Oklahoma for almost a year, is a safety for the staff at OU. He was on campus numerous times throughout the fall. I expect him in OU's class right now. Another guy, though, I'm keeping a close eye on, and I wrote about him at OUinsider.com earlier in this week, would be Reagan Smith. Linebacker out of Pflugerville Weiss High School down in the Austin area. Strong OU ties there. OU became his first big-time offer. He held offers from Texas State, Houston, and UTSA before Oklahoma jumped in the fold last week and threw a hat in the ring. And so, obviously, a long way to go to the finish line in the 2028 class, but that's one guy whose name I would get to know, if you don't already, would be Reagan Smith.
Let me ask you this about Camion Compton-Nero.
Yeah.
Does he have offers to play quarterback anywhere?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So all of his are to play safety?
Safety or wide receiver.
Okay.
But Oklahoma sees him as a safety.
Right.
Don't quote me on that. I don't think any of those offers are to play quarterback. But, he's one of those dudes that is just kind of the best athlete on the field.
Yes, exactly.
Like, he can do it all.
But he can spin it a little bit, too.
He can.
Which is why I was wondering.
He can. He could play quarterback at the next level. But I think the potential is much, much higher for him as a safety. Just because guys like that can do everything and that just play with a level of, what would you even call it? Guys that just get it. Guys that just seems like they're playing on a different level of difficulty than everybody else on the field. They make pretty good safeties. Oklahoma has a couple great examples in recent memory because Peyton Bowen was that type of player in high school. Robert Spears-Jennings was that type of player in high school. Michael Boganowski was that type of player in high school. Jaden Hardy was as well. I know he's still he's not around anymore, but it's guys like that tend to pan out at the safety position because good safeties are guys that are superior athletes with superior intellects. If you have both of those things, you have a very, very high ceiling if developed properly at the safety position. So there's that. A question from the YouTube chat, courtesy of Damon Tipton. Any news on Jay Valai's replacement? No concrete news yet. I said earlier in the week, and I will reiterate it, I expect this to be something of a slow burn process. I don't know that we're going to find out tomorrow who's going to be Oklahoma's next cornerbacks coach. The Sooners are not really in a position where they're facing a ton of pressure to make a hire fast. Also, they had to have learned a lesson from the one rushed hire that they made in the Brent Venables era, and that was the hire of Seth Luttrell. Right? So you don't hire someone for the sake of continuity alone, and you don't hire someone because you feel like you have to hire someone.
And also, LeBron Bauer being okay with signing with Oklahoma without a cornerbacks coach should probably tell you you're in an okay spot.
Jay Valai's departure hurts. He's a tough guy to replace. But fortunately, it's the University of Oklahoma. And not only is the University of Oklahoma a school with a strong enough brand that you can go and make an offer to a guy like Jason Witten, who could coach a number of different places at the collegiate level he wanted to, and you can acquire his services. But also, Jay Valai and the work that he did at Oklahoma in the cornerback room for the 4 years that he was here set things up very, very nicely for whoever his successor will be. To the point where, as you might have expected, Oklahoma has gotten calls. There have been very qualified candidates across the profession that have reached out to Oklahoma to inquire about the vacancy. because they see what everyone else sees. A program that went to the college football playoff last year, a defensive staff led by one of the finest defensive minds in the country in Brent Venables, and the opportunity to coach a position group with a couple of all-SEC candidates at the starting corners next season.
I was about to say, I think even before you get to the part that Oklahoma went to the college football playoff, you give somebody Eli Bowen and Cortland Guillory, I think there's going to be a lot of people jumping on that one.
Joe Bob from Louisiana says, Grayson not going to get any extra pin setting tonight after bowling for that Sabrina Carpenter comment.
I am 98% sure that she is not listening to this show.
Does she ever listen to the show?
No.
Okay.
No.
My wife doesn't either. I know that whatever I say on these airwaves is not going to get brought up at home. Because, well, generally she's doing far more important things than you and I are.
Yeah, most times mine is as
but
well.
Even when she's not, she ain't listening. 405-651-3439 is how you interact with us via the text line. One final segment for the day, one final segment for the week coming up here on Locked In. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. We'll be back in a moment.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is The Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Good times are calling your name at Riverwind.
So fill your heart with jackpots at OKC's favorite casino. Catch the hottest entertainment at the Showplace Theater.
Or take it all home on a classic table game.
Play with your wild card, and every Friday in February,
you could win stacks of cash
with our $250,000 Love Struck Luck giveaway.
So make it a date, and we'll see you at Riverwind.
The TSET Healthy Youth Initiative is making a difference in every corner of Oklahoma, working to prevent teen tobacco and vape use, fueling our minds and bodies through health education, and empowering the next generation of leaders. Why? Because we are the future of Oklahoma. The TSET Healthy Youth Initiative, investing in Oklahoma. Learn more at tsethealthyyouth.com. Brought to you by the Tobacco Settlement Endowment Trust.
Hey, it's Tyler McComas with The Rush. Catch us every day from 3 to 6 p.m. Nobody covers Sooner football like we do, and the best way to stay tuned into the home of Sooner fans, no matter where you are, is with the KREF app presented by Warren Cat. Download the app from the Apple or Google Play Store and take us with you everywhere. Just search KREF in your app store and download today. The KREF app presented by Warren Cat, whatever the job, whatever it takes.
Hey guys, it's Dory Noka. Have you been involved in an auto accident? If so, it's time to contact the OKC Car Crash Clinic of Dr. Martin Lopez. He's a board-certified and fellowship MD with unparalleled training and experience. Dr. Lopez works with a great team of healthcare professionals and attorneys to help you achieve the best physical and financial recovery. Contact Dr. Lopez at 405-86-CRASH or at okccrash.com. Don't forget to listen every week to the Dory Noka Show for the Impact Player of the Game, brought to you by Dr. Martin Lopez.
I'm Gina Mitchell of Mitchell's Jewelry. Valentine's Day is all about love, and we have gifts worthy of the day. Modern heart pendants and fabulous gold necklaces are sure to make her heart skip a beat. She might even have a wish list waiting for you. If you're looking to outdo Cupid, our Antwerp Diamond Supplier has brought in the best Antwerp has to offer. The selection and the prices are oh so sweet. Mitchell's Jewelry in the heart of Norman at 2201 West Main Street.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Friends and family are often the first to notice when a veteran needs help. In those moments, life can feel like the weight of the world is on their shoulders. Or like they are caught in a storm they can't escape. And the metaphors veterans often use for the challenges of life are not exaggerations.
I got you.
Extending a helping hand doesn't have to be just another metaphor. Learn how you could support the veteran in your life at maketheconnection.net.
Gunny being Gunny on the text line. Would a joint and a strawberry shake suffice for breakfast, fellas?
Put a little protein in there, and I think you're good, man.
Gunny eating breakfast at 2:30 p.m.
Gunny
Never changed, sir.
Gunny works the overnights, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, put a little protein in there, my man. Hey, you're solid.
A joint and a strawberry shake? How much better can you do in Porter America than that?
Hey, man.
Come on. You a big NASCAR guy?
No.
Really?
No.
You ever been a NASCAR guy?
No. I remember my dad, when I was a kid, told me point blank, I have no idea how people are entertained by watching cars drive around real fast in a circle for
That's
5 hours.
That's fair. I will watch the Daytona 500 next week.
Okay,
That's
so
probably it.
How does one watch, because one of my best friends is a big NASCAR guy, how does one watch NASCAR for that many hours consecutively? Like, do you hop in and out? Do you change the channel? Like, how does this work?
I feel like you have to be a certain type of person to enjoy watching NASCAR, at least on a regular basis.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like you have to be a certain type of person to enjoy watching baseball. It's not for everybody.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like even the most diehard of NASCAR fans would concur with this. It's not for everybody. Man, I grew up in the golden age of NASCAR. NASCAR was actually a fun watch back in like the mid-2000s, late 2000s.
What was any different about it?
It was a lot different. I'm not going to go into detail about all of the structural changes that NASCAR has undergone over the course of the last decade because no one cares. But
right.
Yes, the Daytona 500 is next weekend. That's probably going to be the one NASCAR race this year that I will watch.
Legitimately, all I know about NASCAR really is that the guys that I grew up with and hearing the names are no longer racing, and you can't bring the Confederate flag in there anymore. That's all I know about it.
Yes, NASCAR was a big Confederate flag sport for a long time.
Hence why it didn't really resonate with yours truly.
Michael and Marlo says, beer. It works with beer. Oh, man. Rednecks love them some NASCAR. No doubt. Was it it's part of Jim Gaffigan's Hot Pockets spiel.
Uh-huh.
You hillbilly enjoy the next NASCAR event. Gunny says, I got pork chops and mashed taters for dinner. The best
Solid.
way to watch NASCAR is watch the last 30 minutes to an hour of the race.
Sure.
That's fair.
Tattoo Baker says, Grayson is a Love Island guy. Never watched Love Island. I've watched 30 minutes of it, and I was like, what in the world is this?
Did you watch 30 minutes of it on your own, or were you?
See, that's the thing. This was back when I was single, and my friends from college were watching it. It was one of my best friends and his girlfriend were watching it. So I was like, you know what? I'll try it just so I can keep up and everything. I can't do it. If my girlfriend wanted to watch something like that, like, okay, cool. Like, I can do that. But I'm not just going to sit down there by myself and watch Love Island. No.
So we made it to Friday. Don't know yet, and probably won't know for a little while yet, who Oklahoma's next cornerbacks coach is going to be. At this point, has your opinion changed throughout the week as you've kind of evaluated all of the reasonable candidates on the board for Oklahoma? Like, who are you hiring if you're the Sooners?
My answer remains the same.
Yeah.
The guy from Clemson, man. I just think there is a lengthy resume, there's familiarity, and there's guys that are doing work in the NFL. And another guy that's going to be, I was looking at some mock drafts recently, a top 20 pick in the NFL draft this year, Avion Terrell, little brother of A.J. Terrell, who's an all-pro. So I get NFL guys, I get lengthy resume history, and I get familiarity with the staff. And then I also get the other part of it to where he can be in those meetings like we talked about on Monday. He can be in those meetings, game planning, filling that void that Jay Valai left, because that was a big part of what Jay Valai did, is that he was instrumental in game planning. So I get a guy who can fill that as well. So Mike Reed, I'll still go with him. That's my opinion hasn't switched on that one.
Yeah. Now, how realistic is it that they could pull Mike Reed away from Clemson? Not sure, but agree. I think there's a pretty wide margin between Reed and any of the other candidates mentioned in terms of just the desirability of the hire. The resume is outstanding for Reed. Outstanding. And if you're going to make the move from Clemson, now is as good a time as ever. A 918 listener on the text line says, non-athletic sports centered around rednecks is what NASCAR stands for. Well done, sir.
That is
well done. Glenn from Nashville added, Parker, you have to mix in at least one short track race. I recommend Bristol. Hey, Richmond was a banger back in the day, Glenn. Richmond was fun. Those on Saturday nights sometimes, too, as I recall. Yeah, those races were fun. By the way, Oklahoma did make a transfer portal edition earlier this week that I don't know that we ever got around to talking about, mostly because it barely registered in the news cycle. But the Sooners did pick up a signature from former Eastern Kentucky offensive tackle Fred Hinton.
Yeah, I saw this.
I don't know that we ever referenced this on the air, but
We
if you
did
didn't
not.
know, now you know. Fred Hinton is an Oklahoma Sooner. Looking at the Fred Hinton file, he was a spot starter during his 2 years at Eastern Kentucky. It does appear that he will have 2 years of eligibility plus a red shirt as he comes to Oklahoma. But to me, I think everyone's opinion is pretty much aligned in this regard, and that's why it wasn't too played up in the media, is because you're bringing in Fred Hinton mostly to be a practice player. Maybe not even so much a depth guy as he is just a guy to have on the practice field that can make life a little bit easier for Michael Fasusi and Ryan Foje and Amarian Harris. 6'4", 318 pounds. You watched any tape on old Fred Hinton?
Cannot say that I have.
Me neither. Me neither. Spot starter at Eastern Kentucky, coming to Oklahoma late in the cycle, because the portal never closes, folks, at least not on guys who are already in the portal. It closes to new entrants. Again, that is a common misconception. It closes to new entrants, but there will be and there are guys that are just hanging out in the portal weeks and weeks after the window closes because they haven't found a destination. And feels like that's what happened here with Fred Hinton. He was available. He was cheap. He played a position where Oklahoma needed another body. And so he is, well, he's not even your newest Sooner because LeBron Bauer is newer than he is.
Here's a note from Ryan on the YouTube chat. Norman, Oklahoma's own Christopher Bell is always a favorite to win the Daytona 500.
That is true.
Did not know he's from Norman.
Hasn't won it yet, I don't believe. But, yes, Christopher Bell is a Normanite. What kind of a question is this from Mars Jams on the YouTube chat? Do either of you have any old sports injuries?
I have patellar tendonitis in both of my knees.
Old sports injuries that still affect me? No, I had a torn UCL in my throwing elbow that was never surgically repaired. But I assume it healed itself. Doesn't hurt to throw anymore.
I mean, like I've got a toe that's still swollen from my senior year of high school when I broke my foot, but
it's still swollen?
Yeah, let's just say I didn't take enough time off after I had surgery. And it didn't heal all the way properly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How does tendinitis affect your day-to-day?
Well, it took me a minute to be able to squat heavy again.
Okay.
But even when I go out to hoop now, like I can't dunk like I used to be able to. And part of why I have tendinitis is because I was dunking at 13. So I spent from 13 to 18 jumping like crazy.
What a humble brag, huh, Drake? Yeah.
Same thing for me.
Yeah, just dunking at 13. NBD.
My legs got old a little bit fast.
Greg from Lawton says, available and cheap. I sure miss her.
Oh, my Lord.
No, Greg.
Oh, my goodness.
Gunny says, swollen toes sounds like the gout.
No, it's not.
Sounds like you got the gout going on.
It is not anything close to that.
Oh, man. We got 5 minutes left.
Good gosh.
Super Bowl's this weekend. Who do you like and why?
I like Seattle, which is funny because I'm going up to Stillwater to watch the game with one of my better friends who's a Patriots fan. But, no, I like Seattle. I don't think, especially with the way Will Campbell struggled with speed rushers during the postseason with Will Anderson, with Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper. I don't know if New England's going to be able to protect Drake May. So I look at that and the fact that Drake May also hasn't played that great in the postseason, and I look at Sam Darnold really hitting his stride. Clint Kubiak's about to leave to be the Raiders head coach, so he wants to go out on a real good high note with Seattle. I like the Seahawks in this one. It's going to be an under game. I'll say 24-16.
You think it's an under game?
Earlier this week, the over-under was 44.5.
Okay.
I believe is what I saw. I think this is an under game.
I think this is an over game.
Really?
I think we're going to get a little shootout.
I wouldn't be opposed.
I got Seattle as well. I got Seattle 38-34. I'm excited because I don't really feel one way or another about this game. So I really do get the luxury of just being able to consume it as a wholly neutral observer and just someone who enjoys the sport of football.
Sure.
So whatever the outcome, I don't really mind. I like Seattle a little bit better than New England.
Yeah.
All in all, I got the Seahawks winning. But between that and old Bad Bunny at halftime,
speaking of
should be a phenomenal Sunday.
Speaking of that, I was, because I hopped in with Tyler and Ted, but they were talking about this on Monday, and after that, I had a really revolutionary thought that night about this whole thing. What's so hard with sitting back and enjoying a show? Like, can we not just sit back and enjoy a show, just as a people, and just see? Like I don't know how everybody on the text line was raised. I don't know how you were raised, Parker, but my parents raised me to be a well-rounded person, and we were raised that there's other cultures other than the traditional English-speaking American culture, and we try to not ingratiate ourselves, but immerse ourselves in everything that the world had to offer in terms of different backgrounds and different cultures and whatnot. So the way I approach it is, I don't speak a lot of Spanish. I don't. I can understand words and phrases and stuff like that. But I know a dude is the top streamed artist in the world right now. He's been the top streamed male artist every day of this year. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy a show. I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea what I think is going to happen. But as long as my buddy still has it on, we're going to eat our pizza. We're going to have a good time. And we'll just sit back and enjoy a show.
Yeah. And you know what? Honestly, I may enjoy it. I may not. I'm going to sit back and watch it.
Yes.
If it's great, okay. If it sucks, then we'll all be clowning Bad Bunny when we get to the office on Monday.
Exactly.
Either way, it's part of the Super Bowl experience. Frat Bro Mark on the text line says, Grayson, are you sure you didn't go to OU? You're too cool to be a Cowboy.
I did not go to OU.
You hang around here long enough, you might be able to get an honorary degree.
You think they give me an honorary degree?
You hang around long enough, you do good enough work, we might absolve you of your status as a Cowboy.
I mean, I have appeared in public in an OU
yes,
attire.
I've seen photographic evidence of this.
I still remember I walked by Chris Plank while he was doing his pregame stuff, and I was going into the stadium with my girlfriend, and he sees me and points at me, and I was like, he's going to bring that up on the radio on Monday that he saw me wearing some crimson.
Was it the first thing he said?
I believe he brought it up on that Monday. I don't know if it was the first thing, but he brought it up.
A listener by the name of Take My Strong Hand on the text line says, I was dunking at 12, but no big deal, Grayson.
All right, you got me.
Take My Strong Hand is more athletic than any of us. Another listener said, my kidney ruptured playing high school football. Kind of strange, but true. Holy smokes.
Dang.
Hope you're okay.
Yeah.
Hope you're okay, Jason.
Will, you good now?
He also added, this has nothing to do with the flow of your show. I just saw another clip of Ott running, which is more than he did at OU. Makes me think of the running back room, and missing on Caden Durham is one that continues to hurt. We took a guy who just transferred to Michigan to play safety over him. I work with his dad. They were OU all the way till OU backed off a bit for Tatum. Yeah. Sometimes what appears to be the right decision turns out to be the wrong one.
Hey, man.
I would not have faulted Oklahoma for prioritizing Taylor Tatum over Caden Durham 3 years ago. But with the benefit of hindsight, I think we can all say, yep, got the raw end of the deal on that one.
Can't bat 1,000, right?
All right, folks. Have a great Super Bowl weekend. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the halftime show. Or don't. Watch whatever alternative halftime show might suit your fancy. We'll all reconvene to discuss it again on Monday. Same time, same place, right here on the Ref Sports Radio Network, the home of Sooner fans. But for this Friday, don't go anywhere. The Rush kicks off next with Tyler and Ted. We'll see you.